Welcome to the Heavy Matters podcast. Tonight, we are doing our download preview show. It's our first one ever because we started the podcast 2 years ago and then COVID hit. So we've not been since then. So this is an actual treat. And today, the whole Heavy Matters team is with us. We've got Venny. Hi, mate.
Hello, mate.
Oh, loud.
Oh,
not
sorry.
very good acoustics in your bedroom.
Just enthusiasm, mate.
Yeah, no, sorry, I don't want to kill the buzz, but that was very loud in my ear. Venny, who you've probably heard a few times on the podcast, and we've tweeted and spoken about these two boys who are joining us. It's Chris Fletcher from Liverpool, and Tony Bliss, who is from Burnley? Norfolk, close enough.
Yeah, Norfolk.
Welcome, lads, to the show.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Excited to make my debut.
Yeah, you boys have been doing some sterling work on the website. Venny always texts me. Venny, you can explain.
You boys are doing sterling work on the website. I'm not a big social media person these days, but I do definitely keep tabs on what's going on. And yeah, some of the reviews that you've been doing have been knocking it out and definitely recommended some good stuff for me to listen to. So yeah, it's been great.
Yes, man.
Thank you, mate.
Okay, so we're talking about Download Festival. Download Festival, which takes part in Donington. It's Friday the 10th, 11th and 12th of June this year. And I don't know if any of you've seen, before we came on air, they've renamed the main stage and second stage. Has anyone seen it?
Yeah, at the Opus or something, isn't it? Like
so they've called the second stage the Opus stage, and they've renamed the main stage the Apex stage. So before we talk about the festival, what's everyone's thoughts on that cracking name?
I don't really understand the name, to be honest with you. I've got no opinion either way. Fair enough.
I know they put some suggestion, like they put a little vote out, didn't they? So
yeah,
Stagey McStageface was put forward, of course, but I don't get where it's come from, Opus, or what's it in relation to?
No idea.
No, I voted on them, but the three choices were very insipid. Like for a rock and metal festival, I think they could have done a little bit better with that. And especially, we've talked about it amongst ourselves before, but the name Download Festival in itself is terrible. So it doesn't surprise me that their stage names are also terrible.
There should have been a vote to change the festival name for a start, because when you think about it, you've got Wacken, Hellfest. Hellfest alone just blows away every other festival with that name. So we should vote to change the festival.
Yeah, Hellfest and Bloodstock have got the two best.
Bloodstock. Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah. Slam Dunk's kind of on par with bad names, isn't it? With Download, I suppose.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of another one, but yeah. I don't know what grass pop is that? That's Belgium, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know what that
means. No. Is it Belgium for something?
Yeah. I don't know why I'm asking, because I've been. Yeah, it's definitely Belgium. But yeah. I'm not sure what that means.
So when we grace the hollow ground in a week and a half time, we must remember to make sure we're using the correct stage names, because if you say I'm going to the main stage, I won't know what you're talking about. I'll be so confused. Anyway. So, first question then, lads. Myself and Venny have been to Download. When we rekindled our love for each other and metal at Download many years ago. We've pretty much been going back religiously since. You boys, have you been to Download before?
Yes. I think the first one I went to was 2008. I think that was the one with the Offspring headlining, and it was a bit of a weird year. And then I think I went to every year until about 2014, maybe.
Right.
and I don't think I've been since then. But yeah, I've been to a fair few in my time.
So Tony's a bit of a veteran as well. Fletch?
No, I've never been to Download. I don't think I've not been to any festival since like 2012. I don't think so.
Oh,
Been out the game for a while.
lovely. So it's going to be like a virgin experience for you going into Download.
Yep, all over again.
I hope you've been training by drinking some warm Fosters straight out the can at home.
I don't think anything can prepare you for
So three stages as discussed. We've got the Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. So I'll just quickly go through the main three headliners, and basically what we're going to do on this show is I put it to you before to pick your three bands from each day that you are dying to see, and then after maybe we can throw in a couple of wild cards as well. So the Friday night Kiss is headlining, Saturday night Maiden, and Sunday night Biffy. So that's the starting stock. So let's start on the Friday then. 4 stages, and let's start with our guest, shall we? Tony, 3 bands that you're dying to see, or sorry, out of the list, 3 bands you want to see on the Friday.
On the Friday, right? First one I went with was Harriet. Because that EP that I reviewed for them recently, it's probably one of my favorite things I've heard this year. Yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, that sort of combination of this sort of just ferocious sort of hardcore metal, it's got everything. It's kind of metal, death metal sort of, but it's also got kind of bits of like Deftones and sort of Chelsea Wolf and stuff like that. And everything I've heard about them live is just, they bring it every time. So yeah, Harriet would definitely be a big one for me. I think they're opening I think they're the very first band on.
Yeah, opening the 4th stage. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the first one. Second band, Electric Wizard.
Dorset's finest.
Yeah, I mean, if you like heavy music, I don't know why you'd be anywhere else at that festival at that time than watching Electric Wizard. Never seen them before. Have you guys seen them before?
Nope.
No?
I think we saw them down before then.
Yeah. I've seen them a couple of times. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal band.
Mm-hmm.
And create such a, I mean, a festival is probably the ideal environment to see them, but I think at that time in the tent in the dark, it will be a satanic ritual type experience. So yeah, I think that's a great shout.
Yeah,
I'd say there'd be a few doobs sparks up at that point as well.
One or two.
Exactly, yeah. I think it'll be a bit of a smoky atmosphere in the in the tent at that time, to be honest. But yeah, I think on the Friday they're probably the band I'd want to see most out of the whole day. I mean, I think the atmosphere they're going to bring in that tent, it will be definitely a standout of the weekend. And the last one I went with was a bit of a wild card for me. I went with The Ghost Inside.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had a look down the bill, and there's a few bands. I like Bury Tomorrow, who are on the main stage, but I've seen them quite a few times. And The Ghost Inside, I'm not sure how they're going to fare sort of headlining second stage. But yeah, I've always been a fan of that sort of big, sort of brutish, hardcore, metalcore, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and I think they'll bring it. There's going to be I think there'll be a fair few circle pits and spin kicks and all your shenanigans going on. But yeah, I went with them just because I think out of everyone who to choose from, they're a band I've never seen before, and yeah, I'd like to see what they can do live. So yeah, that was my 3. for the
I
Friday.
think Ghost Inside will get a massive reception because of what happened, and everyone will be dying to see how they can react. Because I assume they played a few live shows in America, have they? Since that, because they released an album last year or year before, was it?
Yeah, they've definitely released their big comeback records, and they've definitely
Yeah.
played some comeback shows. I'm not sure if it's all the original members or I don't know. I don't know what kind of setup it is, but
I think
don't know.
the bass left in some
Oh yeah,
circumstances,
some
which we won't go into.
cancel type circumstances. And I don't know if they've got a full set of limbs between all of them, but I think they'll put on a good show.
Yeah.
Really. Right, so let's see if there's any crossovers then. Fletch, your three.
Yeah, speaking of crossovers, number one, I went with Harriet.
Right.
But a lot of the reasons Tony said, that EP was wicked. I can't wait for them to bring out a full length. I'm a bit hit and miss with that, like that new sort of hardcore style. Like I'm not really fussed on Code Orange, for instance, but I know they've personally, but I know a lot of the stuff that's sort of come in the wake of them, like Harriet, they're the one that sort of grabbed me recently. So, and again, like Tony said, I've heard a lot of good stuff about them live, so I'm looking forward to seeing them in the, I think, opening the small stage. That could be a bit chaotic, but
First thing on Friday morning.
Yeah. And sorry to disappoint everyone, but yeah, my second one I chose was Electric Wizard. I think it's a combination of it maybe being a bit slim pickings on the Friday, but also Electric Wizard, aren't they? So the only thing I'm worried about with them is I listen to Dope Prone to go to sleep quite a lot. So I'm worried that like reflex, I might just start nodding off when they're on. But other than that, yeah, like Tony said, they're the band to see on the Friday for me, Electric Wizard. Third one I've gone for, they're the band. I mean, I don't think it might not be feasible to see them because of crossovers like stage clashes, but I've picked the opening band on the third stage, which is a Press Club from Australia.
Oh,
they've got a new album coming out soon. They had an album out a couple of years ago that was really good. It's sort of like fuzzy indie punk from Australia. Really, really good. Definitely worth checking out. So I don't think they've been over here because of COVID, hardly anyone's been over here, but I don't think they've been over here for a while. So I've not had the chance to see them before. So we're looking forward to getting to see them if possible.
Love it. I think you can probably safely say that there'll be no crossover with Press Club between myself and Benny Fletch. So it's good to see though that like I've never, sort of when you look at the poster, the lineup, you're like, oh, just never heard of them, so I'll skip them. But I might throw them on for as per your recommendation.
Yeah, I think they've released a couple of records in the last couple of years, but the one that was really good was called Late Teens in 2019.
Okay.
And that's the one that's really worth checking out. The new single as well is pretty good, a bit different, but interesting direction for them. It's a bit weirder, so I'm looking forward to seeing where they go.
Cool. Press Club to look out for. Benny.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, thanks for that. I mean, that is what this show's about, is getting these recommendations, especially when it is slightly slim picking. So definitely looking for those slightly under the radar bands that maybe not everyone's heard of. So that's great. I mean, yeah, slim pickings on that Friday. I again went with bookends of that Dogtooth stage, which is Harriet and Electric Wizard. But just I will try and mix it up with some other bands. So on the main stage, you've got the crowd pleasers of Barry Tomorrow and Skindred. I think it'd be hard not to have a good time with them. The three bands I would say are all on the Dogtooth stage. The first one being AA Williams, a totally wild shout for a Download festival. I mean, I saw her opening Arctangent, and it was kind of 12 o'clock. We're all really hungover, and it was absolutely beautiful gothic piano-led music to start the day with. I just cannot see how this fits it, A, download festival, and B, just in the middle of the day. But nevertheless, all she's released is incredible, and I think I would highly recommend going to check that out. Second up, I've got Bokassa. A lot of hype about them when they first came out, maybe too much hype, I might say, but certainly I really enjoyed that first record. I really enjoyed the second record. I've not actually gone in on their third album particularly, hence the kind of waning of interest in Bokassa in general. But yeah, I think they're probably worth checking out in the absence of anything else. And my final shout would be Red Fang. Again, that kind of very kind of Mastodon-esque, stonery, doomy sound, really fuzzed up, really down tuned, but really upbeat and joyous at the same time. And I really like that album Ghosts that they released a few years ago. Really reminds me of a great holiday that I had in Ireland at the time. So yeah, those are my three shouts.
We're gonna have a bit of crossover, Venny, already. Basically, the way I picked my ones on the Friday was bands that I wouldn't go to see at their own show. So like Tony and Chris both picked Harriet. Like I would go see Harriet at their own show. Whereas, for example, my first one, Skindred, I probably wouldn't go to see Skindred in the Academy here in Dublin. I wouldn't go out my way, sorry, for example. So Skindred is my first one. You know it's going to be a ripping time when Skindred come on. They're just like, we talk about Rob Zombie being like the house band on the second stage for Download. Skindred are like the main stage house band, and they'll have a massive crowd. They're on later-ish in the day, aren't they?
I've got them on at, yeah, they're kind of 6 o'clock-ish.
Yeah, so like beers will be flowing, the sun will be out. Go on, Fletch, go on.
Are you going to take your top off to swing it, or are you going to take a separate shirt with you?
I don't know the rules anymore. Can I take my top off at Download? Will I be chucked out? Who knows?
Cancelled.
Cancelled on the way out. So yeah,
I just to say, I saw Skindred last year at Slam Dunk, and I've seen them probably more than most bands, maybe Slayer or maybe Maiden, but Skindred are up there in terms of the bands I've seen most live. And I was just totally nonplussed by it. I was like, oh yeah, Skindred are on, I'll just go and watch them. And you can't help but having a good time when they're on. Like, they are that good, and they're great showmen, Benji in particular, but the whole band. So yeah, back that.
Yeah,
sure.
The second one I had crossover with you, Venny, was Red Fang. We saw Red Fang. They played on the second stage one year. I can't remember what year, but it was an okay turnout. I was expecting more. I just think Red Fang haven't got the exposure over here as compared to like some Mastodon, but I think putting them in the fourth stage is actually a really clever move by the Andy Coppiner, whoever's organising the stages. I think that'll be jammed, and there'll be a lot of good vibes in there on the Friday. So Red Fang, and then Venny again, Bokassa. I shouldn't like this band. Like the music, the genre I listen to, I shouldn't like this band, but my God, they are punchy. Their songs are short and sharp. A hell of a lot of fun. There'll be a lot of bounce again. So yeah, Bokassa is my third band for me.
With Bokassa, I mean, if they play Captain Cold One, that's the tune for me. They go off with that. They play the last album. I haven't really gone back to the last one, but Molotov Rocktail is a great name, isn't it? And you should go back to that record.
Was it Crimson Riders, their last album?
Yeah, that was the second one with
right.
Captain Cold One on, and then they had Molotov Rocktail, I think, last year.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it did go under the radar a little bit, that album. So yeah, I should definitely check it out, because they do write just straight up good songs. So
and they're quite high up the bill as well. So I imagine they'll be sort of. Well, Venny, have you got stage times?
Yeah, Bokassa are on at about 6:30, so they're on immediately after Skindred.
Oh, Skindred into Bokassa? Yes, please.
Yeah. And I mean, on that fourth stage, you've got Bokassa at then but one is Red Fang, then but one is Electric Wizard. So there'll definitely be some doobies going on in that stage.
Oh, better
With
believe
that
it.
runner band.
That tent would just be hotboxed. So that's the Friday done. We'll come back to our wild cards at the end, but we'll move on to Saturday. And I think what we'll do is to try and limit the amount of crossovers. We'll just do one each on rotation, one band each, because knowing the three of you, I would say the fourth stage on the Saturday, we're going to be camped out there with a tent, if my gut says anything. So Tony, back to you. Your first band on the Saturday that you're dying to see.
Yeah. Speaking of the tent, yeah, there's going to be I could have pretty much gone with every band.
Yeah.
In the tent and just, but yeah, the first one was Bleed From Within, which was a no-brainer for me. Yeah, I've got a review coming up for the new album. Which, no spoilers, I quite liked. Yeah, I've never seen them before. I've somehow missed them because they've been around for God knows how many years now, Bleed From Within. And they're a band that have always seemed to be on the cusp of sort of breaking through, and they've never quite got there. There's been sort of periods of inactivity, and then they've come back and released a brilliant album. You think, oh, here we go. They're now going to break through, and then it sort of stalls again. But I think they're kind of on to something now. I mean, I think they've released 3 albums since 2018, so they're kind of on a bit of a run at the minute. And yeah, again, everything I've heard about them live is just brilliant. So yeah, Bleed From Within were my first one, and I think they might be a shout for a festival stealer.
Do you think, Tony, are your reviews going live tomorrow of the new album?
Mm-hmm.
The way I look and the way you're talking about Bleed From Within, they seem to be on the same trajectory as Malevolence with the release of their last album. Do you think that's a fair statement?
I do. I think Bleed From Within have got a bit more sort of crossover appeal than Malevolence. I know Malevolence, I've read a few things recently where people aren't very happy with the Malevolence album because of the sort of increased choruses and things like that, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I think there's a lot more sort of, if you look at bands like Lamb of God and sort of Trivium and things like that, I think Bleed From Within are on the same sort of lines as what those bands have achieved. If they can just keep it consistent, just keep releasing great albums and keep playing great shows. So yeah, hopefully they're here to stay. And I agree. They're on that same sort of path.
Just a question I had as you were talking there.
No, that's fine.
So Fletch, first one for you from the fourth stage.
Dying Fetus, thank you. Afraid I had to get them in there. I've never saw them before, never got a chance, so I can't wait for them.
We saw them opening on the main stage on the Saturday venue, was it? I think it was a Saturday morning.
I wasn't there for that one, but I have
Oh, were
seen
you not?
them at a club show, yeah.
Oh, they opened the main stage on the Saturday morning, and when Womb to Waste come on, and just, you know, that opening track where the who cares if I'm pregnant, I love drugs, F the baby, etc., etc. Just see it's on the main stage at Download, like a family event. And obviously,
what's the main stage?
Oh, sorry, the Apex stage.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's what you mean. All
sorry.
It's all clear now.
I know, yeah. The Apex stage. Jesus, professional journalist, I can't get that right. But yeah, seeing that was just an absolute like mind-blowing moment, because obviously everyone was there because the way it happened was it was trending on Twitter. Why not Dying Fetus as headliner? And so everyone sort of gathered around, and seeing them start with that was just something that I'll never forget. So Chris, when you see them in that fourth stage, I mean, Malevolence will be one thing. Dying Fetus in there? Good God. It'd be like
I know.
bodies flying everywhere.
For a three-piece, they create one
Oh.
hell of a. I mean, the sound is so dense for a three-piece, and their musicianship is something to behold. It's just incredible.
I think
Yeah.
luckily because the whole lineup on that stage is great, I'll be in there anyway, so I won't have to try and squeeze in because I'll already be there. It should be fine.
You just have to worry about getting squeezed into the barrier because you'll be pushed up to the front.
Oh no. I think that they got a new album coming out soon. It's been quite a while, hasn't it?
Yeah,
it has
Had
been
new music
ages.
from them. Was it
Yeah, they are
2018? Was
recording
it?
at the
Or
moment.
They are, Tony, are they?
They are, yeah. I've seen some studio updatey things online, so yeah.
Was it Wrong One to Fuck With? Is that the last album?
yeah, 2017 actually. So
What?
yeah, it's been
Wow. Lazy, if you ask me. Right, Dying Fetus, yes, 100%. And I actually, do you know what? Until you said it, I forgot they were playing again. What a band to have a download. Venny, your one for Saturday.
I mean, I have to be on brand here and say Malevolence, really. I mean, they've got a great slot. 1 o'clock, second stage, whatever that stage is.
The Opus.
Sorry,
Opus.
mate. Opus stage. Yeah, I mean, I just think that is going to be mobbed. They don't have a great deal of competition that I can see to play at that time. I just think, like we've just said, they're riding high on a great cusp. I was just seeing some pics of them playing out in Malta on that Bring Me the Horizon weird little festival thing. But yeah, I think they've just got the wind in their sails. I think that'd be incredible. So yeah, on brand.
Yeah, and I'll say mine as well, Benny. I have Malevolence down because I just happened to, when I saw them in Dublin, I was stood at the back and not really appreciating it. But now I think I'm really going to appreciate seeing main stage. Opus second stage, whatever.
Will you be in the pit this time or cowering at the edge of it?
I'll let you go in first and test the waters, and then
see which
Like-
bone comes out broken.
like a canary down the mine, and see how you come out. So Malevolence. Right, Tony, you're number 2.
It's a hat trick. Malevolence. Yeah, there's not much more I can say that you guys haven't really said. Yeah, they're on a bit of a run of form at the moment. So yeah, I think on that second stage is going to be quite something. But yeah, Malevolence, the band at the moment.
Are you going to be entering the pit?
No, I saw them a few years back in a tiny venue, and it was just sheer violence. I've never quite seen a show as scary, especially in a tiny little boxy venue. I mean, I was just I didn't really see much of the band because I was just sort of
Fending
fearing for
people
my
off.
life. Fearing for my life, yeah. But yeah, I actually saw Dying Fetus in the same venue as well, which was probably equally as violent. So yeah, but yeah, Malevolence, they're going to bring it on that stage. It's going to be, again, it's going to be a contender for Band of the Weekend, I think.
I mean, just seeing On Broken Glass played in front of, like, because you know there's going to be a packed stage because, like you said, Tony, they're the band of the moment and everyone's going to just be absolutely loving it. I will say, if the Malevolence pit was a normal mosh pit, I would have no problem going in. My issue is with the 2-step, 4-step kicking, spin kick people, which I can't abide with. So that's why I will send Venny in first and then see it after. So hat trick for Malevolence. Fletch, number 2.
Lads, you're not going to believe it. It's Malevolence. I've not saw them before like you guys, but again, everything I've heard, they're sort of the band of the moment, aren't they? Especially, I think they played all the festivals. Like, was it Download Pilot, Bloodstock last year? Everyone was loving it. That new album's great. the little ballad in the middle took me off guard the first time I heard it, but it's quality, and I can't wait to see them. I haven't really got much more to add now, 4 in a row, but
Well, I'll ask the same question that I've asked Tony. Are you going in the pit?
to be decided. I think it's closer.
Yeah, you can stand by me. We'll see what Venny fares, and then we can decide to just bug off or not. Right, Malevolence, four in a row. Venny, number 2.
I'm after this. It gets really difficult for me because there's so many horrendous clashes. So I'm gonna say one that is not a clash as far as I can see it. Coming on the Dogtooth stage at what looks like about five-ish is Will Haven. Again, a really, I mean, I don't know how well it's going to translate to a festival stage. A really dense, really quite heavy sound. I mean, there's a lot of heavy bands playing that day, but I would argue that they are probably one of the heaviest bands. And yeah, they've been away a while and they've kind of come back. So yeah, I've loved them since the very early days. So that'll be a bit of a nostalgia pick, but I think they will bring the fire at the same time.
Okay, well, I've gone Will Haven as well. And for the same reasons. They're just a proper nostalgic band who I don't know if I've seen them. I don't know if I've seen them with you before, Benny, maybe.
I've seen them a couple of times over the years, but not for ages.
Yeah, I don't know whether we were younger, we saw them together or not, but yeah, I'm just dying to hear Carpe Diem live, because that is one of the heaviest songs they have with that tone on there. So yeah, Will Haven. Tony, it's not going to be another hat trick, is it?
No. Although I did toy with, I do like Will Haven, and I did sort of toy with putting them in. But yeah, I sort of thought about Deftones as well. So I'm a big fan of Deftones. I've seen them a few times. In the end, I went with Venom Prison.
Oh.
Yeah, again, great new album this year. A lot sort of different stuff going on as well in their sound, which is why I kind of chose them, really. I want to see how their sort of new sort of melodic-y bits sort of translate live, and the clean vocals and stuff like that. But again, it's going to be ferocious. I mean, Venom Prison got to be one of the best death metal bands of the last few years to come out of the UK or anywhere, really. I mean, I suppose thinking about it, all my bands are just great UK bands, so that's quite a good thing to see. But yeah, Venom Prison, yeah, they're going to be a special set, I think.
I mean, Tony, just on that note about the UK bands, like the UK scene, we've talked about it numerous times. I've never known the UK scene to be such a hotbed for good metal bands at the moment. Like you're talking about Harriet there, Malevolence, Venom Prison, like Skindred to an extent. I couldn't think of another bands like UK band, but no, it is absolutely thriving the scene at the moment.
It is. I mean, there's a few bands I'd have liked to have seen, like a band like Urn. I'd love to have seen on Download this year.
Yeah,
would have been great. But yeah, there's so many bands just coming out of nowhere that, and as you say, I've never known it to be quite this. I was going to say fertile. Was that the word? But
yeah, sure, go for it.
yeah, with all these bands coming out. I mean, it's and they all kind of sound different as well, which I think is the best thing. It's not sort of the same bands churning out the same breakdowns and the same sort of riffs all the time. I mean, again, we're looking at bands like Bleed From Within and Malevolence and Venom Prison, and they've all got this unique sort of flavor going on, which is yeah, it's brilliant to see. And yeah, I think they're all gonna really do well at Download this year.
I guarantee they'll get a good reception. All of the boys who you mentioned there. Fletch.
Yeah, as soon as Tony said he wasn't picking Will Haven, I went, oh no, because I was going Venom Prison too. He keeps getting in before me. No, like I said, I've been a massive fan of Venom Prison. Like all three of their albums have been great, and they've all been slightly different. They've changed it up each time. Not the new one obviously is the biggest leap and the most drastic change. But I just think they've done it so well, and they've kept everyone interested with the changes. And like Tony said, I can't wait to see how that works live, and really looking forward to that. But the shout outs, I mean, I know they've got a bit of a dodgy reputation at festivals, but I can't look past Mastodon. I love that band so much. I've got to give them I've got to pop my head like in on them for at least a few songs. See how that's going.
Oh, are they clashing? Are they?
Oh, I'm not. I haven't saw the times personally, so I haven't even checked that. I don't even want to look yet.
Venny's nodding his head there. I think they're clashing.
Yeah.
Well then, never mind. But also, and a bit off brand for the death metal fan, but I want to give a shout out. I really like Creeper on that one of them on one of the stages as well. Don't pull that face.
I'm in the minority here.
Yeah, I
like Creeper too.
Yeah, I love that.
I don't mind Creeper.
I love those goth boys and girls. And if I get a chance to pop my head in on them as well, I'll definitely be doing so. But Venom Prison was my main pick there.
Venny?
Yeah, I mean, looking at what I think is pretty provisional set times, like I'm going to be in a world of pain with some of these clashes. Like, just to shout out Creeper, I mean, if they were playing on one of the other days at that same time slot, I would definitely go and see them. But it just so happens that they're going to be clashing with some of my favourite ever bands. So, Deftones, I absolutely adore. Mastodon, I adore. Even Maiden, who typically have been one of my favourite ever bands, are going to be, would I go and see Dying Fetus, Napalm Death and Sepultura, or see Maiden? Like, there's so many tough decisions. One that I think I'm relatively resolved for, though, is I would like to see Megadeth, and they hold such a special place in my heart. Dave's been through a bit of a tough time lately. You've got a little sense that it's probably not going to last forever now. I think them closing the second stage will be quite a nice moment. So yeah, that's who I've gone for. But there are about 6 or 7 other bands playing probably at exactly the same time who I could have chosen.
I think we'll come back to that fourth stage towards the end of the show, because that's where a lot of our attention will be on. But I've gone for Megadeth as well, Benny, because twofold. I know I said before I would rather go see bands that I'd go see live on their own. I do fear that Megadeth might be running out of time, and I don't know whether that is from Dave's end or as a band as a whole. So that's one, I want to see them. But two, Venny, one of my favourite memories of Download was that Saturday, about 5 or 6 o'clock, they were playing the main stage. The sun was beaming down, and they just played every hit. I think they maybe started with Washington's Next or something like that on that tour, but then they just got into that Symphony, Peace Selves, and Holy Wars. And I remember that back three. I think you and I had our shirts off. There's photos of us just absolutely lapping it up. So
euphoric, yeah.
So I'm just praying that we get the weather for them, and just seeing the outro track, that Megadeth outro track when they finish, and Dave holding the flying V is giving me goosebumps just thinking about it now. So it's Megadeth for me as well. But we will come back to that Saturday, because I think probably all 4 of us would agree that Saturday is the standout day on Download.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So we'll come back and discuss that. So Sunday, God's Day, and it certainly is a rest day. The Sunday, isn't it? So we'll start again, Tony. So on the Sunday, Biffy Clyro headlining the Sunday. So This is actually gonna be really interesting, this section on the Sunday, because I would imagine all four of us had exactly the same problem going, who, what? So Tony, kick us off with your number one, who you're gonna see Sunday.
Yeah, my free pick. These are really weird free picks for me on the Sunday. The first one though, is probably more on brand, was Orbit Culture. Who, to be fair, I don't know a lot about. I've heard their album, I think came out in 2020. Can't remember what it's called, to be honest. But yeah, they released an EP as well. I think that was last year. And it's just a really cool sort of mesh of metal styles they do. It's sort of, the vocalist really reminds me of Chuck Billy from Testament. Both his sort of growls and his clean vocals. And it's a real cool mix of sort of, as I say, Testament, Fear Factory bits, sort of, you've got the death metal in there as well, sort of really sort of mechanical sort of sounds, bit of Meshuggah. So yeah, interested to see what they do live. But yeah, as I say, I don't know a lot about them, so it will just be one to check out.
Well, I didn't know anything about them until you just mentioned that then, so I'm 100% going to check them out, because Fear Factory and Meshuggah mixed together, yes please.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's one to add to the list.
Yeah. But yeah, they're really good. They're really good on record. So yeah, I can't imagine they're going to be rubbish, but we'll see, I suppose.
And where do they hail from?
I think. Sorry,
Yeah,
go on,
this-
you know.
Yeah, the Swedish.
Oh,
Swedish. I was going to say America, so I'm glad you jumped in. To be honest.
And I'll just jump in again because they're my first pick as well.
Oh, mate, we're so predictable.
I know. But yeah, the record in 2020 was good. I thought the EP they had last year was even better. I think it was Shaman or something like that. That's the title. And that was really good. So just, I've not saw them live. I've not heard any reports of how they are live, but just going off the strength of that record and that EP, and they were one of the first things that jumped off the poster for me for that Sunday.
and they're not. I thought they're actually quite high up the bill, so it won't be struggling with a hangover to get and see them early. So bonus.
Yeah.
Orbit Culture. I'm going to check them out later. Bedtime listening band, lads.
Depends how well you want to sleep.
I was going to say, yeah.
Benny listens to black metal going to bed, so you can't really judge him on how well he'll sleep. Right, so your first pick for Sunday, Benny.
One of my favourite bands, and they've really crept up on me over the last few years. I've seen them at Download on many a Sunday, and they're just the perfect Sunday band for me. And it's Baroness. I just think they are an exquisite band, very underrated. Like, you will get bands like Mastodon getting a lot of the props, but I just think what John Diablazy does is incredible. The whole artistic package with the artwork and everything else, the addition of the female vocalist, second vocalist, guitarist, I just think adds so much to the whole live package. I cannot wait for that already. I loved the last album, Golden Grey. I thought that was brilliant, a real slow burner. So yeah, I cannot wait to see Baroness live on Sunday evening.
Same. I've gone Baroness as well. And again,
lucky we've got a nice diverse group of voices for our media outlet.
I do have a couple. I do have a couple of left fielders coming up, but yeah, Baroness. Like, I've seen them before. Blazing Sunshine, just, joyous time, full of riffs, sing along songs.
Lots of red wine.
Oh, definitely going to be a little couple of glasses of rouge during that. But I mean, just the joy it brings. Their sing-along anthems. We saw, I think they might have just released Purple, or it'd been out for a while anyway. So it was heavily full of like Chlorine and Wine, and I just remember having such a good time. My only concern is the Gold and Grey album I hated compared to you,
Oh,
Benny.
mate.
And we discussed this before. The production is just dreadful. It's like a Bath produced it for them. If anything, going by his new albums to go by, I just couldn't get past that production. I've tried. Now at live, they're not going to sound like they are on records, God forbid. So hopefully I can see through that. But yeah, Baroness, always going to have a good time. And they're on the second stage, about fourth down. So be
lovely.
nice. Yeah, lovely. You're absolutely right. So Baroness. Tony.
Yeah, next one. I actually went with The Descendants.
Go on.
Yeah, go on. A bit of a soft spot for that sort of punky sort of how do you describe it? Yeah, that sort of punky sort of, I was going to say sort of like high school, college sort of US sort of sound.
American Pie film soundtrack sort of thing.
Yeah, I used to hate it when I was sort of in my teens. But the last few years, I've really kind of got a lot more into sort of the sort of punk stuff from around that time. And yeah, I really like The Descendants. And to be fair, I didn't really clock they were playing Download until I looked at the lineup like today. Sort of thought, oh, The Descendants, and because it's such sort of slim pickings on that Sunday, I thought, yeah, I'd probably end up going just to see what The Descendants sort of bring to the table live. And they've got a couple of albums that I really like. I think it's Milo Goes to College is the big one, isn't it? So yeah, you can probably tell I don't know a whole lot about them, but I definitely like what I've heard. So yeah, I think I'd be going there just to broaden my horizons a bit. And but yeah, that's the one I landed on.
I mean, I don't want to, who's probably clashing with them? The Darkness, Steel
Darkness,
Panther, maybe.
and Darkness and Yo Kanda, according to my sources.
Okay.
Yo Naka. Oh, sorry, whatever they're called.
So yeah, okay. I can see.
That might be an issue with one of my with my last pick. Thinking about it.
Whoa! You don't say you can do yet, all right? I know you're dying to see.
Right.
All right. I think that's not. I got confused with the Distillers then, but they got taken off, or they couldn't do the Friday, was it? And who were they replaced by?
Frank
Carter.
Carter, was it?
Yeah.
The perennial replacement. Frank Carter and who else?
on standby. Okay, Fletch, your second band on Sunday.
Yeah, just a shout before I pick my band. I'll probably be watching The Descendants too. I think I'm a huge. I don't know a lot about them, like Tony said, but I like what I've checked out, and based on the lineup, I think for that Sunday, I don't think there's much else at that time. So I'll definitely be watching them. I think. I was gonna pick Baroness as well myself, but I think to keep it just a bit, let's spread it out a bit. I think I'm gonna, and Joey's gonna pull a face now, but I'm gonna pick Spirit Box. I'm just looking forward to seeing what reception they get. I mean, it's gonna be madness trying to get into that tent to see them. I mean, I know they were originally booked for the fourth stage, weren't they? And then now they've been bumped up a stage, but even then, I think it's going to be packed out for them. And it's not the kind of music they play. It's not the kind of thing I usually like. But when I heard that, it just seemed to have a bit more personality and stuff. So I got drawn into it a bit, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do live.
Can I just interject quickly before, because I know I actually thought you were going to say the other band who we don't mention on this show. That other band, but we won't mention it. But I have tried with Spirit Box so many times, and I just cannot get into it. It's nothing personal against the band. Like, I don't have any gripes about them and their success. I just can't get into it, and I don't know why. I don't know if, I mean, Venny, I know you loved it. Tony, what's your take on it?
I'm the same. I can't see what the fuss is about.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I can tell they're good, but how they're blown up, kind of, I can't really see why over a lot of other bands. Why this band? If I'm being totally honest. But hey, good for them.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I just can't. Yeah, but it might just be a case of just trying again with the album. But yeah, so far I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually take that criticism. I do somewhat agree with that, but I like Fletch. I would be really interested to see them, and I really like that album. I think it is a matter of they're not necessarily reinventing the wheel, but their quality of what they put out is high, and I think that is what has captured a lot of people. I think it is accessible, and I think they are going to blow up even more than the bands like we talked about, like the Levellands, whatever else, just because they've got such a broad potential appeal. So I mean, like Fletch, I think that tent is going to be mental. It's going to be like stacked out 10 people deep outside of it. And I just think it'd be quite, I think the next time you see them at Downloads, they will be in the upper echelons of the first and the second stage. So I think it'll be quite just an interesting time to see a band on the uptick, so to speak.
Yeah, and go on, Tony.
Sorry. It might be a I can say I was there moment. I think. Yeah. Yeah, even though I'm not the biggest fan, it's probably for a lot of people it's gonna be I can say I was in that tent before they started playing arenas and whatever. So yeah, I can definitely understand that.
And I was going to say that I think it might, like, I probably will go see them because I don't know if there's anything else on at the time, but sort of Benny and I are discussing that Sunday is a bit of a luxury for us because we're not going to be rushing around to each stage because there's nothing really that we want to see. So I could just go see Spirit Box, and there might be a band live that might change my opinion. You know, it's happened before with me where I've seen a band live. Igor, who played Download, perfect example. On record, you'd be like, meh. Seeing them live, you're like, Jesus Christ, this band. So yeah, it might change then. So Venny, your second pick of the Sunday?
My second pick, again, not a typical Download festival kind of artist, but someone I absolutely love and think's a bit of a genius, is Jamie Lenman, who's on the third stage. I was never a huge fan of Ruben, but I've just loved his solo stuff, all the solo stuff that he's done. I think in a similar way to Devin Townsend, he just is a polymath and just is really good at what he does and is so creative in lots of different ways and is a great entertainer as well. He's really, really quite funny. So I can't wait to see him. I've seen him at a few different things, Art Tangent being one. And again, I don't think he necessarily fits Download Festival in general, but I think he will be just the tonic on a nice Sunday afternoon.
Well, like Fletch did last time, I had Lenman picked as well because I really loved his last album, Dyson something, was it? Dyson Cards?
Devolver was his last. Oh, sorry, House of Cards was.
House of Cards. Yeah. So I was really looking forward to him, but I will change for the sake of keeping this spicy. So my actual one that I had picked already is Volbeat. For me, saw him. I've seen him a few times now at Download in Europe at other festivals. Never disappoint. Like sing along songs. They've got some, maybe Barney making an appearance during Evelyn, like he's done previously. Rob Caggiano, is that right? Rob Caggiano guitar, always got a beaming smile on his face, absolutely ripping it. And I just think they are probably one of the perfect bands to have at Download on the main stage. They will appease everyone, and some people may not like it. Some people think there's too much punk mixed in with the metal or whatever, but I'm a big sucker for them. Big country songs, yeah, all day. Volbeat for me is my second one. Tony, that absolute silence across the board there. Yeah, good Volbeat, yeah.
Well, my last one, which I've just discovered clashes with my second one. Would have to be a half and half. Was The Darkness. You can't go wrong, can you, really, with The Darkness? I kind of love everything they've put out. Again, a band I've never seen. I don't know how I've avoided them, really, because they've definitely played around where I
They're
live.
from your neck of the woods, Tony.
They are sort of, it's at Lowestoft, sort of around.
Yeah.
But and they seem to be on a bit of a on the up a bit more nowadays. I'm not sure where it's sort of come from with The Darkness. I'm definitely seeing the name about a lot more. It's just a band you want to tick off your list, isn't it? Go and see all those classic tunes. To be fair, I'd be happy if they just turned up, played Permission to Land, and then left. They probably won't do that. But yeah, The Darkness festival band.
Did they not take like a massive break or hiatus, and then I think they came back, and that's why they're so big now? Like a bit like My Chemical Romance. Sorry, that's probably a bad example, but do you know what I mean? There was all this, they've gone missing and then came back, and Tony, I agree with you. Like I would no way know all of their albums. Like I would know their hits, but seeing them with playing like I Believe in a Thing Called Love, for argument's sake, and everyone's singing along, it'll be basically like being a mini Queen gig, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they've got to be one of the ultimate festival bands going. Have they played Download a lot? I can't remember them being on Download.
I don't know, actually.
I've never seen them before either, which
No.
is weird as well. But I back that as well. I think with the lack of much else to see, I think that'd be definitely a good show.
Exactly. Definitely better than Steel Panther. I think follow them.
Agreed.
Yeah. So yeah.
I'm looking at Fletcher's face. Has he picked Steel Panther? He's quickly changed it. Oh yeah, Steel Panther. That shit. Yeah. Go on then, Fletcher, your third.
Well, you said there was silence before, but I've picked Volbeat myself. Not like a band I'm massively like into on record. I don't really go back to the records a lot, but I just, when you hear them songs, I just feel like they're gonna be a party. And look, especially just, I don't know, they just got a real bounce, haven't they? And it's like you said, it's gonna be perfect, especially on a Sunday. Everyone's feeling a bit weary on the Sunday. I think they'll pick everyone back up again, won't they? Really looking forward to them. I'm also, my dad's coming to Download as well. He's never been before, and I think they're his favorite band. So so I've got to go to see Volbeat with him. So
that's nice. That's nice.
So, but I think there's especially, was it Wait a Minute, My Girl or something on the last album. I think just like the country, just like the swing and the bounce on their songs. I think I'm looking forward to them.
Oh, it'll be a great time. It really will. I don't know if any will be going to see.
Well, I mean, I hate to break it to everyone, but all the bands we've mentioned are all playing at exactly the same time, and then there's no one playing before or after who's any good. So anyway, I'm pretty hopeful this Clash Finder I've got is wrong, and it's all going to be fine.
Over to you then, Ben.
I was, before Fletch stuck his head above the parapet and mentioned Spiritbox, I would have gone with them, but I think we talked about them. I've got a couple of kind of question mark over bands that I don't really know much about, but I'm intrigued about. They are Twin Temple, Foxjaw and Static Dress. But my last choice is something a bit more straight down the gunnels, which is Tremonti. I think a friend of ours, Moose, who's going with us, will be extremely up for this. I mean, again, he does nothing particularly exciting. There's no fireworks going off here, but he plays just very solid, very workmanlike, but actually quite high quality tunes. And I think none of the albums he's done are bad, and they've all got one or two really good tracks on. So again, through slight paucity of things to pick, I've gone for Tremonti, and I think he will be very good on the Sunday afternoon.
And where's he? What stage is he on? I can't see it. Sorry.
He is before Baroness on that.
On the
Forgot it already.
the opus stage.
Opus, eponymous.
Ridiculous, ridiculous stage names again. Okay, Tremonti. I would have, probably guessed that, considering the slim pickings. My one is, I just want to give a quick shout out to Powerwolf, as I've seen them in Vienna before, and I'm not a power metal fan, but I will say is their stage show is excellent, and they know how to get a crowd going. So on a day that is very much quiet, if there is a gap, I would go and see Powerwolf.
Well, I imagine you'll be on the main stage at the start of that day
with Wargasm.
Well, that little trio is a nice way to warm up.
I'm not getting sucked into it.
Well, you are talking about some novelty bands, so I thought
Can we all just take a minute to let it sink in that Joey's picked a power metal band?
No, that wasn't my pick. I was saying I'll give it a shout out to. But my pick actually is Korn. I wouldn't go see him. Would I? Maybe not. I wouldn't go see him on their own. But you often think of Korn these days, and people just say, "Oh, the latter stuff," or the last two albums before, and they were a bit nah. But then you think actually, well, Follow the Leader has absolutely fucking great tracks on it. You've got tracks like Blind, things like that. And I haven't seen Korn since Downloads 2000, whenever we went Benny when they played there. So I'm actually really, really looking forward to seeing Korn play on that Sunday. And I think after Volbeat, that's a nice little run in those two back to back before I then head back to the camper van when Biffy Clyro play.
Speaking of Korn, I mean, I still haven't heard the latest album, but the one before it, the Nothing, I thought that was a really quality album, a real return to form. That one I thought was really good.
It might have been that one. I think there was a couple in between that one that were a bit shady, but I could be wrong.
The new one.
Yeah,
New one. It's good.
Everyone's been saying it's really, really good, that new one. I should probably listen to it. Couple of bands to throw on. So should we do a few wild cards then? Also, not wild cards, any other shout outs? Should we start on the Sunday and work our way backwards? Any other bands that, just raise your hand, lads, and we can throw it in there. I mean, Sunday, let's just say it now, is a horrible day, like lineup wise, when you think about it. I know it's not a metal festival, but at the same time,
yeah, I mean, it is stinking. I've already thrown a few wildcard bands in there I don't know a lot about, but I'm just kind of caught my eye and thought might be interesting. That is Twin Temple, Static Dress, and Foxjaw. But yeah, I mean, what I would say about that Sunday is at least on the third and fourth stage, at least it's a bit different. At least they've tried to do something a little bit different. That's my main positive thing I can say about it.
I think with Twin Temple, I think it's like, or they label themselves as like satanic doo-wop or something. So I think they're definitely going to be something different to check out.
They supported Ghost.
Yeah,
on the latest arena run. Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Tony, anyone else on the Sunday who you'd?
Very mentioned Static Dress, who I actually checked out their album this morning. And it was all right. It's kind of a mix of sort of early My Chemical Romance, but then it's got sort of hardcore bits that are like Norma Jean and sort of that sort of like really heavy and sort of really savage. So yeah, they were. I'd be interested to check them out live. The album's worth a listen.
That's another band who I think we should go and check out then, Tony. Good work.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing else for me really on that Sunday. No. So the Saturday, if we're working reverse, that fourth stage is just unfair how good it is. Like if that stage was on like at Hellfest, for example, one of the smaller tents at Hellfest, that would be getting so much attention. And like Sepultura, Napalm Death, Dying Fetus, Bleed From Within, Venom Prison, Will Haven, 6 bands back to back who you would quite comfortably go see at Dayfest on their own and pay top dollar, is top notch. I just want to give a shout out to Dead Label, who are playing, Irish band, just become 4-piece, used to be a 3-piece on the circuit over here a lot. They support like Fear Factory, they supported Sixth when Sixth played over here. So Dead Label, they're on early enough on the Saturday, but they play straight up sort of metal. Throne of Bones, I think their last album was called. So if you're about in early enough, go check them out and show them some support. And the other one of like, we don't need to talk about Napalm Death from me. That's another band who, it's just the fucking clashes are so annoying on that Saturday. Sorry.
I'm quite lucky in the fact that I saw them about a month or so ago, so I don't feel too bad if I have to miss them for clashes. But they were great. It's Napalm Death, isn't it? What, you don't need to say anything else really.
No.
You shouting out an Irish band there. I'm going to shout out Death Blooms, who are from Liverpool, on the Saturday on early on the Saturday. I think they had an album out. I think it was at the start of this year. It's and I think they went down quite well. I think they played the Download Pilot last year. I think they opened or they started one of the stage, and they got a really good response. I think a lot. Some of it might have been just like everyone's relief that they were back at it was the first band on the festival, but there's some really some interesting stuff on their albums, quite bouncy and stuff. So it's again, it could be a good festival band, especially to kick off the Saturday.
A couple just briefly from me. I mean, even that third stage, the Avalanche stage, if you took that and put that on one of the other days, would be a really good stage. I particularly really like Loathe. Speaking of Liverpool, I think they're really good, especially if you like anything like Deftones, then you would like Loathe. I'd be quite up for seeing Black Label Society. Haven't seen Zaki Wild for a number of years, and always good. And he'll have some deep cuts I haven't heard in years that will bring a lot of joy to the soul. So yeah, those are a couple from me. But yeah, I mean, it's very difficult that day. It's very difficult.
Tony?
Yeah, I'd second Loathe, definitely. I think they're from Liverpool as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Chris? Yeah. I've always heard good things about them live. And we've not mentioned Mastodon, I don't think, have we?
I think
little band called
brushed on it.
Mastodon.
Yeah, just touched on them briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that Saturday it's kind of we're going to be, well, I think I'm going to be running about for a few different stages that day.
Yeah. The thing with Mastodon for me is whenever I see them on a festival bill, I've seen them numerous times on festivals and they've always sounded so bad. I don't know what it is. And like sometimes you think, oh, maybe it's the wind like carrying the sound away. But I've seen them on a perfectly still day and they still like Brent is always kicking off at his sound tech to sort out the sound. Like they can never get it right. So I hope they do. Maybe the second stage is probably a good spot for them where I don't know, it's less spacious, if you know what I mean. But I do hope they do pull it off because they do get a bad rap at festivals. And
they are hard to trust in a festival environment for those reasons you said. Also, they are notorious at not picking a festival set list. They will probably play Hushed and Grim in its entirety and drop the singles.
I would be 100% down for that. I love that.
Me too. But I'd also like to hear Blood and Thunder and all the smashes as well. But they don't cover themselves in glory a lot of the time. And if you see them in arena or in a academy show, they are one of the best bands you'll ever see. But yeah, they're hard to trust a bit, especially when you've got big old bands clashing with them. So it's really, I love Mastodon. I love that last album. So it's going to be a tricky shout.
Yeah. And we haven't even touched on Maiden. That's who.
I thought there was going to be a separate Maiden section. I was waiting for.
yeah. Part 2.
That's
just
our
Maiden. Yeah, like they are now back, and they've confirmed they're doing, I think, 4 songs or something from Senjutsu, which Fletch nearly ruined for me. Yes, yeah. It's just 4 songs. That's it. So I think they're just saying, like, you know, because we've been away for so long, when we released the album, we're going to chuck in a couple of songs from Senjutsu, which is delightful because we saw the Legacy of the Beast tour, Benny, so we know. I assume it's going to be the same as what they did last time. We know what the set is going to be, which, by the way, is not a bad thing because we know they throw in some absolute beauties in there. And so, in addition of a couple of Senjutsu songs, absolutely fine with me. So I'm definitely seeing Maiden from start to finish.
Same.
So, can I put it to you as a panel? The option is you can see Maiden in full every minute with a comfortable position, or you can see comfortably all of Megadeth set, most of Dying Fetus, all of Napalm Death, and all of Sepultura. Can I persuade anyone that is a slightly better trade-off as a panel?
I think it's a tough one.
I would option 2 for that one.
If I've never saw Maiden before. I've never had the chance.
Okay.
So if I hadn't, then the option 3 on that Dogtooth stage, I'd stay there. But because I've never had the chance to see Maiden before, I can't miss it.
But
That's
sorry,
absolutely fair.
Venny, Megadeth surely don't clash with Maiden.
They don't, but what I'm suggesting is that they might, by the time you see the end of Megadeth, you probably have to run to that main stage. You might not get an optimum position.
Right.
So I'm trying to be devil's advocate in a way to suggest actually you might not get comfortable. So I'm trying to make the bargain a bit more hard to choose from for you guys.
Dangling the carrot a bit more.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Is there any part of you, Joe, that would forsake Maiden for definitely all of Megadeth, most of Dying Fetus, all of Napalm Death, and all of Sepultura? I mean, Sepultura is the weak part of that bargain.
Yes, Sepultura I'd take or leave. However, I've not seen Sepultura with Derek Green in before, so a part of me is like, no. A part of me is like, yeah, and everyone says
Igor won't be
amazing.
there, presumably.
No, he left ages ago, didn't he?
Yeah. So it's
He was with Max at the Maryland Death Festival.
That's right.
Weekend, so.
Yeah. The one that is Napalm Death is the one that is really sort of tearing at me a little bit. So I can't answer that question. I will have to decide on the day when I've had a skinful of beers.
It's tough. It's really tough for me. And being not the hugest fan of Senjutsu, that slightly biases me, as well as having seen Maiden however many times before. I totally get Fletcher's point. If you've not seen them before, this is like a perfect time to see it. It'll be incredible. But if you've seen them 10 times before, it's difficult. I mean, I'll be in a world of pain, whatever I choose. But I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate on that a little bit.
Could put a Napalm Death joke out there and say you suffer.
I will suffer.
This line.
Suffer the children. I will.
I mean, Venny, I know what you're saying, but I think when the time comes to it, when the sun's setting and we've all had a few beers and we hear Doctor come on, I think that when we're all together, there'll be a different vibe. It's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to push you in one way.
Yeah,
but
I get you.
I just think, and Tony, you've been very quiet on this. Are you a Maiden fan at all?
I am to a degree. I don't like anything they've put out recently, if I'm honest. But yeah, I like the classics. I mean, you can't not like the classics, really, can you? But I have seen them before. At Download, actually. I can't remember what year it was now.
They play every other year, so it could be one of many.
I think it was around 2013, maybe. But yeah, I'd like to see him again, definitely. But yeah, I'm definitely not the biggest Maiden fan in the world, if I'm honest. And you sort of feel a bit hesitant to admit that, don't you, as a metalhead, to be honest.
I think in this day and age, it's acceptable.
Yeah.
I think you might get cancelled.
I might do, yeah. Yeah, I might not be on Twitter much now, lads.
So are you saying you would go see Sepultura headlining and then to Maiden, or what's your thinking on this situation?
Probably yes, because I've never seen Sepultura before at all. But again, with Sepultura, I mean, I like them up to a degree, but I've not really heard a lot they've put out recently. So yeah, I'm not too fussed about seeing Sepultura, if I'm totally honest.
To be fair,
I think I'd rather see that sort of Caballero Brothers thing they've got going at the minute. I think if that was on Download, I'd be a lot more infused to go see that.
Is that the classic Sepultura route? Like, that's the Max era Sepultura set. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're playing like Arise and Beneath the Remains stuff. That
Tasty.
the last Sepultura album, Quadra, was pretty decent. I haven't heard anything for years before that, but that one was all right.
Yeah, I think it's just my ignorance again of not listening and not hearing it.
It's a bit like Korn in that way. I think they've had a number of critically acclaimed albums that they've released in latter day times, but just they've struggled to get people behind them because they've lost that momentum and everything. People have lost interest to a certain degree. But I think the actual music they put out is actually of reasonably high quality. So it's a difficult one, but I'm the same as you guys, really.
Yeah.
I think their album, was it Kairos or something like that? Was that one?
Kairos, yeah.
Kairos. I think that was quite a good one, if I remember rightly. But anyway, we can go on about Sepultura. Anyone else? Bush on there, Benny, on the Saturday?
Clash, potentially Black Label Society and Loathe, so there'd probably be the third of those. But again, I would have a passing interest in that, but probably not against those clashes.
I think the other one that stands out, and not as in stands out for me that I want to go see, but what we haven't touched on is Funeral for a Friend, because they, like My Chemical Romance, like The Darkness, have come back and selling out tours. I don't know if they're doing stadiums or academy shows or whatever, but huge band that's come back, and I think that stage, the Avalanche stage, will be absolutely jammers for them on that Saturday. I'm not a fan. I don't know if you boys are at all. Or
I've got a slight soft spot because Ours came out when I was 14, and I was, I think, one of the bands then that album that really helped like get me into like rock and metal and stuff then. So, but I don't really listen to them anymore, so I'm not gonna prioritize them. Or...
Yeah, I saw them. They played at Slam Dunk last year. They were second headliner, and I adored it. They played a fantastic set. It was total nostalgia fest, but I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And like I say, if you transplanted that third stage onto another day, I'd be very happy sitting at their Funeral for a Friend, Creeper, Holding Absence I'd see, Loathe I'd see. So yeah, I mean, it's just that it's a victim of the other bands that are on other stages.
Tony?
Yeah. I quite like them. Was it Casually Dressed, their first album?
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like that one. But yeah, I'm not I can't pretend to be too bothered about Funeral for a Friend nowadays, to be honest. Are they a full-time band at the moment? They seem to be doing sort of odds and ends.
Good question.
And yeah, I'm not sure if they're totally back.
I'm not sure they've got much new music particularly, but they're certainly touring about.
I remember a very quick story on Funeral for a Friend. Venny and I were at uni at the time. I was in Cardiff, and Maiden had released. Oh, what's that album called, Venny? Dance of Death. Dance of Death. So Venny came down from Norwich on the train, and we had it was on a Friday night, I think. We arrived a bit late, and Funeral for a Friend was supporting Maiden for whatever reason, and they finished up, and as the Funeral for a Friend banner dropped down, everyone started cheering and like, really, and you just thought, those poor lads, because are they Welsh? They are Welsh, aren't they? In their home country, and then just getting booed and clapped when their banner came down. It was just a very awkward experience. But don't book Funeral for a Friend if you're supporting Maiden. In fact, don't have a support if you're supporting Maiden. Who do we see supporting them, Benny? Killswitch.
Oh, Killswitch Engage.
Yeah, that was actually
fantastic.
That was good, yeah. So that was a good one. I'll let them off for that. Right, Friday, anything? I mean, Friday is Kiss headlining. All right, anyone going to go see Kiss?
It depends.
Even ironically.
No, it's I like it. Kiss is a bit like their discography is like a big pile of shit. And then inside that pile is like a few diamonds, and you've got to really dig through to try and find it. So it depends. I don't know what the times are, whether they'll clash with Electric Wizard much, or if I can see them. So, but I'd be interested in seeing some of it. By all accounts, they put on a show, don't they?
The beauty would be that Electric Wizard ends, and then we have about half an hour left of Kiss. So when we're walking past, we get to see them play Love Gun and Rock and Roll All Night. Perfect. Then you.
Yeah, I mean, never seen them, despite all the times they've had headlined and toured or whatnot. And they are a legendary band, like, make no bones about it. So I just for that, and I don't necessarily go around collecting these kinds of experiences, but I would quite like to have said I've seen them. But and I definitely agree with Fletch. They've got some absolute pearlers in their set list. Some of the kind of not deep cuts, but there are some tracks that aren't those really big ones that are amazing. So if they played a few of them, then I could be pretty happy standing there with a beer.
If they play like 1,000 Years or Cold Gin or some of them early ones, that'd be great. And you don't know how many farewell tours they're going to have left to see them on.
Exactly. I probably, like Joe was saying earlier, I would not go and see them live if they play a show. But this is the kind of time where you maybe would just go and see them. So yeah, maybe.
Let's ask the man. I can't wait for this. Tony?
I've actually seen them a couple of times. I think they played the first download I went to, actually, 2008. And it was fun. It's kind of more fun, and you're kind of watching a circus. You got Gene on the old stilts, and he does the zip line thing as well, from the front to the back of the crowd and all that. So yeah, it's a spectacle, but yeah, the music is again hit and miss, isn't it? There's a few bangers in there, but yeah, it's worth seeing. A lot of fire going on and all that. So yeah, watch it once, see him once, and then you can say you've seen him.
That's it. Job done.
Job done.
I'm not going to go through every band. I saw A Day to Remember, and I'm interested to hear on Tony and Fletch what your thought. Now, full transparency from me, right? They played Download before, and Venny and I were flying back from Birmingham Airport, and there was a girl in front with A Day to Remember on. And I turned to Venny and said, "Oh, what are they like?" And he just went, you won't like him, mate. And I went, enough said. So I have listened to him after that, and he was correct on most of his presumptions about me. So Tony and Fletch, A Day to Remember. Go.
I love A Day to Remember.
Do you?
Oh.
See, actually,
Why I was not saying that.
I've seen A Day to Remember 7 or 8 times. Me and my mate from uni, we used to go see them all the time. And I don't know what it is about them that I like so much. But yeah, there's something about A Day to Remember that I really like. I mean, live they're hit and miss. But yeah, big choruses, big breakdowns, sing along. I'm a sucker for it.
I can't believe it's taken us this long to figure out he's a secret Day to Remember fan.
That was the M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end of the podcast.
Yeah, it's like the ending of Saw. Like, it's you.
I was hoping they weren't going to come up, and I could have botched it. But yeah, if people hear this say, "No, I hate Day to Remember, mate," I'm not going to get away with
it. If you weren't getting cancelled before that, you are for that now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Fletch?
I don't really know them very well. There's one of their bands that have always just sort of passed me by. I mean, I've heard Homesick, and like Tony said, there's some big breakdowns on there that sound, they're pretty good at what they do, but it's just not something I've ever really gone in on. It's not something I've ever really felt the need to go in on either.
I mean, I've got two comments just on that. It's like, firstly, I think there are a lot worse bands that you could take aim at over the weekend than A Day to Remember. I think actually what they do is actually pretty good. And the second thing is that is quite a big slot for them. I don't know what everyone else thinks about that, but a sub-headline to Kiss on the main stage, like that is a sizable slot. So like, there must be quite a few people wanting to go and see them.
Well, especially because their most recent album got a bit of a kick in, didn't it? From a lot of people. So I'm surprised. So it's interesting to see that they're still that far up.
Yeah, the latest album wasn't good at all. Yeah, and they've taken quite a hit. There's been allegations and stuff as well against them, and their sort of popularity seems to have waned a bit. So yeah, I'm not sure how they've landed this slot so high up. But I think they'll pull a crowd.
If you're reviewing the new album, Tony, what would you be giving out of 10?
4.
Oh, that bad.
Yeah, they've made some kind of horrible decisions. There's some really sort of shiny sort of, I don't want to say pop, because it's more sort of, I don't know, it's really sort of cookie cutter kind of teeny bopper kind of stuff, and they're sort of, I think they're collaborating with like some is it a guy called Marshmallow or something who does, I don't really understand it if I'm honest, but yeah, it wasn't great. Yeah, and the production was near, there was one good song on it, well, there's a couple of good songs on it, but yeah, not good.
I just wanted to gauge your, because you're a huge Day to Remember fan, just to see the comparison to where it was. So 4, that's pretty kick in the teeth. Any other, Tony mentioned, I think Tony earlier gave a shout out to Bury Tomorrow. Anyone else people want to have a little shout out bands that we might have missed? Weren't in our top 3, but you want to give honourable mentions?
Depends how many beers I've had. I might see Airborne if I'm drunk. I mean, to be fair, I've only ever listened to that first album properly, and that's a good record. I mean, at the time when that first album came out, it was better than anything AC/DC had put out for years. So if you like that, then I mean, I think they'd be a decent watch, especially after a few beers. But again, I don't really know much of their stuff other than the debut album, so I can't really talk about it too much. But you know,
Yeah.
potential to be a bit of a party there.
Yeah, I will throw maybe not as a Day to Remember style shocker, but Lacuna Coil. If they weren't clashing with someone, I'd go see. I don't mind. Christina Scabia. I think they've got a few good tunes, so I wouldn't be averse to seeing them. Just one band that no one's mentioned, and I'm really interested to get everyone's take on it. Sleep Token. Anyone?
I've tried with them, but I just can't. I can't get with it.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me like the guy's voice really reminds me of who's that guy who won X Factor? Is it James Arthur. Does anyone know him? He sounds exactly like him.
Maybe it is him under the hood.
Maybe. But yeah, I can't quite get with it. It's a bit sort of uneventful.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, I think
Their music.
it's a bit formulaic, isn't it? It's a bit like the same verse, and then they'll stick a gent riff on the end. From what I've heard, but
Yes,
it's not for me.
that's exactly what it is. I couldn't put my finger on it. You're absolutely right. That gent riff on the end. Venny, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed that first EP when it first came out. I was like, oh, they could be on to something. But progressively, I've lost interest. And I saw them, I've seen them before, and it didn't quite hit home live for me. People were calling it some kind of reverential experience than playing live, but I just couldn't see it myself, and in fact it sounded quite bad compared to the record. So maybe that was just me, maybe that was just a one-off, but yeah, I'm not sold. But Joey, just put you on the spot, a choice of A Day to Remember, Sleep Token, or British Lion. Who are you taking?
British Lion every day.
Really?
Seeing Big Steve solo, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Definitely, like that's a no-brainer for me. So that's Download, our preview of Download, and I'm sure we're going to do a post view. Is that the right word? Post a review. Yeah, a review of Download, because we might be a bit spread out, actually, to be honest, by the sounds of it. A few bands might clash, but ones that aren't, we can throw in our 2 cents. So, lads, we will be meeting in person in 2 weeks' time. Actually, it's a week on Saturday. We'll meet at the Download Dog. The beers are on us, and we're going to have a bloody lovely time. But until then, keep up the great work. We appreciate you both massively for giving us a dig out and writing wicked reviews for the site. We'll see you then. Benny, I will speak to you, no doubt, at some point in the week. But until then, guys, thanks very much, and thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers,
Bye.
boys.